Okay, we're going to finish the lecture, The Secret of Happiness, and I wasn't able to do the whole thing during the lecture, so here's the rest of the part done via my camera. We left off talking about women and things that bring them happiness. The part we were talking about is how happy people don't compare themselves. And talking about women, how they compare themselves with magazine. Ladies try not to do that. They're airbrushed. They're not real. Now let's talk about men. What is it that men think will bring them happiness, and how do they compare themselves? Well, men today, as you probably already realized, money is the big thing. They believe that they think that money is what will make them attractive, or status in society, or other symbols of success. The car, having security, having all the things, the goodies. The reality is that women care really more about the personal and interpersonal strengths that a man brings to the relationship rather than those things. It's really if he's confident, if he pursues her without any fear, if he takes initiative in caring for her needs, if he's secure in himself. These are the types of things that will in reality be very attractive to a woman. And guys, if all she wants is money, stay very, very far away. The next part is tips to using your talents. And first of all, don't compare with others. Try not to compare with others. Take ownership of your own desires, talents, gifts, wants, needs, beliefs, genes, looks, etc. What am I saying? Take ownership of all the things in your life. That includes your desires, your talents, what you're good at, your gifts, your wants, even your desires, your beliefs, your genes, what makes you you, and your looks. All those you need to own. And use what heaven has given you to the fullest. So once you own those, yes, this is me, I'm going to use them to my best. And I'll be happy instead of comparing with others. All right, that's it for that point. The next point is happy people think well. That'll be our next point. Happy people think well. The power of your thinking is the most powerful, is more powerful than anything that can happen to you. The power of your thinking is more powerful than anything that can happen to you. That's a quote from Henry Cloud. Let's talk first of all about your thinking patterns. How are your thinking patterns? Did you know that your thinking patterns create traffic patterns in your life? In Beijing, we have a lot of different traffic patterns, and it can be very congested. People going this way and that, and a lot of people don't really follow the rules. They just go whatever they feel like going. And so your thinking can also cause traffic patterns. And it's the things in your life, the things you do or don't do, that cause these patterns. We are wired to negotiate life based on our thinking patterns. It's like a GPS navigation system in your car. When you're wondering what to do next, your software inside tells you exactly what to do. But what if you have a bad code in your software? Well, we have negative thinking patterns in our brains that result in the bad traffic patterns in our lives, much like the Beijing traffic patterns we see. Our thinking affects our moods, our anxiety levels, our performance, and ultimately our well-being. Why is that? It's because our thinking and belief systems were designed to drive our lives that way. The closer our thinking and belief patterns are to reality and following the truth, the happier we will be. Successful, happy people are not overcome by circumstances and losses, but instead overcome them by thinking in ways that higher truth and reality tells us to think. Things like hope, faith, and love. Things that will never disappoint. The world will tell you that you are not desirable, that no one will ever want to be with you. We don't have to listen to the lies of the world, and instead let our hearts and minds be transformed by things such as mercy, truth, and love. Here are some tips in getting started. Again, happy people think thoughts that help them be happy. First of all, tips for developing positive thought patterns. Avoid all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking. What is that? Well, it's like you're taking a test and you don't think you did well. Oh, I ruined that test. I'm surely going to fail. I'm going to get a 0 on that test. I won't do it. I'll get an F. Or, oh, well, I think I aced it. I know I did. Well, that's all or nothing. Either I got 100% or I got a 0. All or nothing thinking. It's probably more or less in between that, right? It's just somewhere in the middle ground. If you studied hard, hopefully you'll get a A or maybe a B, or hopefully not worse than a C, right? Watch the negative thoughts in your life. Watch out for them. Avoid catastrophic thinking. What is that? Catastrophic thinking is you always think the worst of every situation. I failed that test, so I'm doomed forever. I will never get a job. I'll never be able to make money. Whatever. That's catastrophic thinking. Avoid that. Have peace. Be more balanced in your thinking. Do not overgeneralize from one instance to all. Well, I messed up. I didn't do well in sports today, in basketball, so I'm never going to be good at basketball. Don't overgeneralize from that. See both sides of the situation in your thought patterns. So try to look at things from other perspectives and not just your own. Try to get away, have more, people call this the lack of an observing ego. People can't see themselves or see outside themselves. So try to see things from other perspectives. My community is bigger than the negative. Realize that my community, and we talked about this, my safe community, that is the vertical and the horizontal, right? My connection with heaven and with the community at large around me will give me the support to be able to overcome these negative thought patterns. The next one is happy people are grateful. Happy people are grateful. All right. I love this quote by Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She says this: "We, the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much with so little for so long. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing." Here's someone who's truly, if you remember who Mother Teresa was, she lived in the slum, near the slum areas of Calcutta, and she helped the poor, the homeless, the sick, brought them into her convent, a religious place where they took care of people. And she always reached out. Thousands of people were helped by her. And people ask, how could you do that? Well, it's because she had a grateful heart. She was grateful to her higher power, to God, for helping her, and she was, because of that, for helping her, for loving her, for forgiving her, and so she was able to reach out with love to others. People who are grateful and practice gratitude regularly have significantly different levels of happiness than those who don't. This is a proven scientific fact. So those who are grateful are more happy. So one of the mottos is just simply be thankful. Look for ways to be thankful. Thankful people have more energy, have better outlooks on the future, are physically healthier, are emotionally have more emotional capacities, are less obvious, are less envious and materialistic. They have solid character and are happy no matter the circumstances. Our brain chemistry changes when we become thankful, and we become alive and more active. Your relationships with your support community and your life practices, how you do things, are the fuel for how you feel, not what's going on around you. you can learn to express gratitude. For example, you can write down what you're grateful for. You can keep a gratitude journal. Maybe just once a day, write a sentence, just one sentence about how grateful you are. In fact, do it every day. Studies have shown that if you do things every day, they become cemented into your reality and cemented into your habit. If you do it every other day, you might forget. Every day, write a sentence in your gratitude journal. Expressing gratitude often with friends and family. And helping those less fortunate. That's another way. Going out of your way to help those. Maybe make a list of people you can help and begin helping them today. Tips for developing gratitude. Practice giving thanks in all circumstances. Remember, we talked about circumstances really don't make you happy. Research reports only 10% of happiness comes from circumstances. Gratitude is the spiritual equivalent to eat your vegetables. They're good for you. And so it's a way to be happy. Steps to gratitude. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me add on. Gratitude also helps shift our internal world in the right direction. Gratitude keeps us from what is called splitting, a psychological mechanism that happens when we get into patterns of thinking that make the world, ourselves, and others into an all good or all bad category. When circumstances deal us a bad card or we experience something disappointment, giving thanks can stabilize our mood and our sense of well-being. There was a story of a stockbroker, and he was like everyone else. He went through the hard times of the global economy recently as it took a downturn a couple of years ago, and it really was devastating not only to him but many of the stockbrokers, people who deal in stocks and bonds and help people invest. And the question, but as my friend got together with him, he found that he was doing okay through this. And yes, why was he doing well when others weren't so doing well? Was he making more money? He said, no, it was nothing of the sort, really. What happened was, when it happened, at first it was tough, but then he realized he needed to just be grateful and be thankful. And so every day he began to think about and write down all the things he was thankful for and grateful for, his family and all the people that support him and love him. And then he began being thankful for all his clients, the people that he helped. And he found that as he was thankful for them, as he began to reach out and really look at them as someone he could serve, not just make money off of, but people he could serve and help, he began to have a better attitude, and they began to have a better attitude. He began to attract more people. And so even with the downturn, he was able to continue his work. And all that because he began to have a gratitude even despite circumstances. Steps to gratitude again. Number 1, feel your feelings of gratitude. Let them fill up your soul. Create happy feelings inside. And not crappy feelings, but happy feelings. Increase your sense of well-being. Put words to your gratitude. Write them down. Say them out loud. Keep the journal we talked about. Research has shown that this improves your mood. Tell your safe community about how grateful you are. Let them know that you're grateful for them and for the life that you have. So as we talked about, you need to get with other groups of people, safe people, who you can tell your safe community about your gratitude. And express it in many different ways. In song, in transcendence, in talking with others, and sharing your heart. The next point in being happy is that happy people have boundaries. King Solomon, one of the wisest men that ever lived, said this: above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. What is a boundary? Well, a boundary is like a property line. It basically defines where you end and where another person begins. A boundary sets a limit to behavior, and boundaries include things like your dreams, your passions, your time, your energy, your beliefs, and your values, and many other things. Healthy boundaries guard your heart and your mind and your soul and your energy. And it comes from self-control. That's how you develop boundaries, not other control. You need to get away from that. No one ever asks anyone. You can't control other people. So really you can only control yourself. And so it makes sense. And the results are more personal freedom in your life. Okay. Happy people also have an internal locus of control. They understand they are controlled by themselves and not by others and circumstances. They do not let other people control, manipulate, do not let other people's control, their manipulation, their irresponsibility, or even abuse be in charge of their life. They set limits on what they will and will not allow in their life. And they quickly address infractions and do not put up with repeated patterns of hurtful and irresponsible behavior. Let's look at a poem by another famous Hebrew scholar, King David. He was actually the father of King Solomon. And he said this. He said, I will set no worthless thing before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not fasten its grip on me. A perverse heart shall depart from me. I will know no evil. Whoever secretly slanders his neighbor, him I will destroy. No one who has a haughty look and an arrogant heart will I endure. My eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they will dwell with me. He who walks in a blameless way is the one who will minister to me. He who practices deceit shall not dwell in my house. So clearly, what David is saying here is he sets a boundary. He says, I allow the boundary that I have allows good things to come in, but prevents the bad. So it keeps the bad things out, lets the good in. And that's how a boundary should be. Steps to better boundaries. First, don't go it alone. This is the first time you've heard about boundaries. One of my word of cautions is don't try to do this without a good support group. Find a good support group to help you take a stand in difficult situations. Secondly, develop better self-control. Begin to value the treasures in your own life, in your own heart, and find ways to protect them and nurture them. Use boundaries to not only protect you from evil, but to help you focus on building good things into your life and the lives of those around you. And finally, name your boundary areas. Write them down and begin working on them. Examples of boundary areas would be, for example, I will not trust a liar or a cheat. I will not allow myself to be abused physically or verbally. I will not take responsibility for the irresponsible behavior of others. I will not allow myself to be around substance abusers of those and the like. I will not allow myself to be constantly criticized. And I will not allow someone to derail me from my path of growth mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc. Those are all examples of boundary. Notice, as you're placing a boundary, you do all things in love. If you're speaking the truth, you're speaking the truth in love. In love for yourself, love for others, love for everyone, your safe community. Next, happy people forgive. Evidence affirms that when you forgive others, you are the biggest beneficiary. Henry Clapp.